Hello, hello, and welcome back to Noodling in Creative, my weird little experiment that didn't go as planned last time, and so here I am trying it again. Today, hopefully, it's going to be something larger. I want to build a pumpkin farm and a melon farm. Step one is cleaning out the inventory from last time. Cool. So sneak and elytra because those are actually kind of useful. Now, very similar to this one, I just want to start off by going over the context for these pumpkin and melon farms. You know, why do I need them? What are they going to be used for? Where are they going to go? And this sort of thing will help inform their design. So we'll just scooch over here. So, similar to this one, I mentioned that this is going to go in a botanical garden area in the city in the Starling Survival server. This botanical garden is going to have a large central building that not only is it going to house 4 moss farms, it will also be housing a row of farmer villagers. And farmer villagers have a trade where you can trade pumpkins and melons to get emeralds. And then outside of this, you know what? Let's get a visual aid. I have most of this building designed, like the exterior wise. I need to finish the interior of it. But it's basically a large kind of circular center with like 2 wings poking out of it. This is a rough shape of it. And this is, you know, like the central piece of the botanical garden. And then in true botanical garden fashion, I want to have a pathway leading straight down the middle to it. So you walk down, and this is like the central building. Beautiful sunset. And then leading up to this building on either side, I want to have one building for the pumpkin farm and one for the melon farm to kind of like center it. So these will be large towering buildings that'll help frame this walkway and our main building. So that's the plan. You know, they shouldn't be this size. Besides, like a pumpkin and a melon farm are much larger than a glow-lichen farm. This is kind of my design statement, I guess. This is where they're gonna go, what I need them for. So now I think I want to, similar to this, I want to just put together the redstone that I'm gonna need to encase with these buildings. And then I'll be back. Ta-da! Pumpkin farm, I think. It might need light in here. I did forget about that tiny little detail. So I'm hoping if I just put like maybe glow something around the edge here, that'll just make this lit up properly. But I have also, in making this, I've made my first notable design decision that I want to talk about a little bit more. So you may notice I used crimson planks wood here, and there's a reason for that. Let me set something up. Oh yeah. Back in elementary school art class. Now, I believe technically this is part of color theory, but I don't know color theory. It's on my learning about it is on my to-do list to improve at building, but at this point I don't know like any official color theory. I just know like very, very basic stuff. And that's what has been informing this build. So I should still have them. Here we go. Now, you know, we have a pumpkin and a melon. And these are notably tertiary colors. So, you know, I have the primary colors of the red, yellow, and blue here. And then you have the tertiary colors of the green, the orange, and purple. And my plan for these buildings, these farms, is to have a lot of orange accents incorporated into the pumpkin farm, and then a lot of green incorporated into the melon farm. You know, I think pretty self-explanatory as to why. But then I want them to look similar, you know, have a similar design to them, so have like the walls be made out of the same material. Right now I'm thinking sandstone or something like that, but that's not set in stone. But I want to have like an extra accent color that's on both of them, and I feel like purple is the good choice for that, since that's, you know, the remaining tertiary color. And this is purple enough. I need something that has stair and slab variants for waterlogging. I could use purple, but I think this just feels more, you know, intense and vivid. And I want to use this. I do love purple though. I'm just gonna put that out there. Purple's great. Purple rules. So this is my plan. Orange accents for pumpkin, green accents for melon, and then purple crimson accents on both buildings to help balance it out. Maybe wants to use streamlights for this, just because they're very easy to get and they're a good light source, but they're orange and would skew the color balance towards orange, so no, not allowed. I'm doing some science. Cauldrons, lava cauldrons, are one of my favorite light sources, because if you hide the lava part of it, this is still glowing, but it's gray and it doesn't look like a light source. So my favorite use that I've done with this is if you take something like a path block and put that here along the edge, and then do something like deep slate. Let's do polished deep slate. That matches pretty well. Slap that on top here. That looks, that looks nice, but you have this one pixel of cauldron that shows, and if we do time set night, this is glowing. And it's a really fun, very easy to do in survival hidden light source. And for our purposes, color-wise, gray is not particularly colorful. I hope that's not a contested statement. But what I'm worried about is, since that this is a farm, there's gonna be, and it's pistons breaking things. There's gonna be entities getting clipped. I saw a frame of fire. I'm worried that this is they're gonna be able to like push them into the cauldron and burn. It's looking like no. Huh, okay. Well, that's good enough for me. I trust it. We are in spectator right now. We got our cauldron, so if this block is 9, we're chilling. Rats, why is it 1? This light here. I don't know, like block 5. This is glowing. What? I don't understand. This is kind of weird. I'm hoping it's just some like spectator weirdness, but this, there's lava. Okay, back in creative. Rats. 7. Is this not bright enough? I will be upset if this just isn't bright enough. 7 there. That would be ideal if I weren't doing the color balance thing. This would be weird. What the frick? Okay, hold on. Do I have our elytra? Okay, cool. So it's just spectator being weird. Cool. Thank God. Okay, well, and that was our today's segment of live problem solving with JBlocks. Hooray! This works. And now, yeah. At level 9, perfect. So there's 4 pillars there. Pumpkins will grow. Perfect. Now, to deal with the underside. Now the classic one that I like to do is, minecart collection system. It's tried and true, it's simple and effective. But I've played on servers in the past where the minecarts started getting problematic, specifically on the melon farms, since I was running 2 minecarts next to each other, just because melons drop so many entities, items. And that was just, they were going everywhere. The minecarts were like hopping tracks, stopping, and just generally being uncooperative. So that's just making me not particularly... They're kind of driving me nuts. Ow, what happened? Oh my gosh, crazy. So, yeah, minecart collection system under here. What I'm kind of tempted to try is something horribly inefficient, especially on a server. But it uses cool and interesting block mechanics with one of my favorite blocks in the game, mud. So in theory, this is also all running on an assumption that a pumpkin can grow onto mud and a melon. And then I wouldn't need to run a cringe hopper minecart under here. I could just do, what's this, a 9x9? Instead of using one hopper minecart and a bunch of rails, I could instead use 81 individual hoppers all feeding into a single chest. That can't be a good idea, right? This is gonna go on a server. Granted, it's my server, and I can do whatever I want on it. Like, not many people play on it, but like 81 hoppers for each building. So what's that? Quick math. 162 hoppers just for collection, not including. That can't be a good idea. That cannot be okay. I'm gonna self-veto this. This is a bad idea. It's cool in theory. It's a bad idea. I'm gonna move the mud so I'm not tempted. Behold, rails. I'm gonna test this live. No, I did not design this. I just googled hopper minecart unloader and basically copied the first, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus results that popped up. I guess I can't really credit any one single person, but if you Google hopper minecart unloader, and every person there in Google Images inspired this. Now, is this the most efficient? Of course not. 9 hopper minecarts. But is it better than 81 hoppers? I would say yes. And this also just looks really cool. You get all of the minecarts moving back and forth. And like I said with this one, I want to try and incorporate the farm's functioning into the design to get the visuals going. And this is a pretty awesome visual. Granted, I don't know how this is really going to fit well into a botanical garden, which is supposed to be kind of still, calm, and peaceful. But on the other hand, I don't really have a lot of opportunities to incorporate this level of movement into a build. So even if it doesn't necessarily fit in with the botanical garden, I really want to try and get this like have the building that goes around this showcase this sort of element, because this looks really cool. How far away do they load from? Okay, I'm granted this is also a single player world, but that's pretty good. And I think there might even be some changes coming in the future. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think there's something like in a future update where you can like change the rendering distance for entities on your end. I need to double check that, but if so, that'd be really cool. Okay. But it looks really cool, but the main question is, does it actually work? How can I test that? I just need to get something in some of these. Can I just pick up stuff that's on the track? They can. Perfect. Okay, that did exactly what it was supposed to do. And we got our first harvest. Oh my gosh. It's growing. Perfect. And so the melon one will be a mirror of this. It's gonna have one difference though, a little hint of asymmetry. Instead of feeding this, it won't just be a barrel, it's gonna be a more proper storage silo thing. But on the melon side, I'm gonna have it feed into an auto crafter that will then craft the melon blocks. There will be like a little extra nub sticking out of the building, but for the most part they'll be identical. I think that little asymmetry, there we go, I think that's gonna look cool. It's gonna help differentiate them a little bit, so that they're gonna have the different color schemes, but then also the little extra bit on the melon farm will just make them look a little bit, have their own personality. Maybe we could add something extra to the pumpkin farm. But this is the redstone done, I think. I'm a little tired right now, a little groggy, and I am being downright hypnotized by these minecarts right now. Now it's time to brainstorm what's going to go around this. And what's going to go around this that can showcase its movement. Also have that silo. Can't see that. Wait. I wonder. We're gonna do a little live test here. I mean, it should work. You can. I know you can place rails on glass. Yeah, we might get some weird stuff like that, like super dark blocks. But tinted glass is going to match the deep slate, which I do want to use for this one, I think. At least for the underbelly of it all. Maybe I'll change it. That looks really cool. That looks really cool. Because obviously this is going to have to be up, elevated a little bit, just to make room for the storage silo. So I'm wondering if going off of this pathway bit here, obviously the botanical gardens are going to extend out a little bit. So we could have, these axioms are feeling lazy, a little cross here, and have the path split underneath into some more natural areas, or even other parts of the city. So this could maybe go off a bit more botanical garden, then go off to our industrial area where we have the iron farm. And so these will have an archway underneath them that you can pass through. And when you pass through the archway is when you see this. Because again, this is really, really cool. I like this a lot. And you get the sound. This is cool. Oh, I'm getting hypnotized again. No, 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 look away, look away. I'm happy with that. Okay, I think this is a really cool base to play with. And now I just need to make a building that accentuates it more and doesn't hide it. Honestly, just having this floating here looks really cool. I'm quite enamored with this right now, in case you couldn't tell. But I think it's good to be enamored with your builds every once in a while. Behold, an archway. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. I kind of like the thin little spruce bit I get here. I don't know, it looks a little off to me. It looks maybe a bit too chunky. But just like on the whole, like building wise, I think this is a good like shape, especially if I want to have a path running through here. And my other big gripe is that it does hide all this cool hypnotic minecart action from the outside. But that makes it a lot more interesting when you walk in and see it here. So I guess I need to decide if I want to have this visible from a distance or not. So I guess right now, just for making the decision, I'll step through what I'm thinking right now. And I guess try and talk about how it's informing my decisions. I don't really have I don't go into these episodes with much of a plan aside from this is the building I want to build, so bear with me here. This movement is really, really cool, and I think is worth playing with. But we have this effect here, which makes entering kind of like walking into here a bit of a reveal. So you walk through the archway and you see all of this movement, and it's like, whoa, that's cool, that's interesting. But from the outside, it looks more like a solid building. And this has a benefit too. You can also kind of see it across there, which is nice. This has a benefit of, in the grand scheme of what the botanical garden is, the goal is for this building to be the main centerpiece. And if the building is on either side of it, have all of this crazy movement in them, you're gonna walk and be like, whoa, what's going on in this thing? I know, look at this. It'll catch you, grab your attention, and pull you over this way, away from the center of the botanical garden. But this just looks really cool. And I think it would be a shame to hide this much movement, because not a lot of farms have this. Well, is that necessarily true? Because if I build any other farm that has a hopper minecart collection system, I can just do this again. And especially if it's in the industrial district, if I can come up with some other farm that has a hopper minecart collection system, I could then make this sort of collection system again, but then make it even more visible in the industrial area. And then I could still play with this in here, because this just, again, looks really cool. And then use it to inform decisions in a busier location in the future. Because then we still will have a calm atmosphere for the botanical garden. And if I can totally find some other farm to do this with. This isn't my only opportunity to use this effect, so I'm not wasting it if I kind of build up these walls to not be see-through. That right there was a live JBlock's thought process. I have successfully convinced myself that this style of wall is what I'm gonna go for. This wall in particular, I'm still not 100% sold on. But at this point, I think it would be worth building up a bit more, because I want this to be bumped out. We're gonna have a few layers. Playing with it, kind of hiding this. Now, I am a little worried about building a storage silo, but I could do something here. It'll get interesting for the melon one, but again, that asymmetry will be nice. I should be able to just put this here and not have it interfere with anything. Maybe here if we do a little. Thinking. So there's a wall there. Look neat. And then I guess a cool little thing here is if we, wall that up whenever one of these pistons extend. Yeah, whenever one of these pistons extends. Again, I'm groggy, that's my excuse. Then this wall will detach and we'll get a little extra movement there. That looks kind of weird. That looks kind of weird. Ooh, okay. So I just had a brain blast. I think they're called. Wow. Wow. Yeah, some days I just can't speak. Grab sandstone. So my thought here is kind of extend this orange stripe out. Do that sort of thing. Because like that orange, who would have thought that red sandstone and normal sandstone would blend together nicely. And then that is a great way to have a bit of orange accenting off of this. However, there is no green wall. Oh, there is this. But this mossy cobblestone walls are just not as vibrant as red sandstone, which kind of sucks. However, I had another brain blast, a brain blast within a brain blast. We're getting meta today. Oh god, I need to update my vanilla tweaks resource pack to actually have the. I usually have like texture pack that marks like only in your inventory and marks the edges of all these waxed blocks so you can see them at a glance, so I don't accidentally build with non-waxed blocks and have them oxidize on me in creative. I forgot to add it when I updated all my mods. But orange, green. Definitely not of. This is a much more vibrant orange than this is a vibrant green. But the same material opposing each other on these buildings, I think would still look interesting. This is. We'll see if that siren got picked up by my mic. I think having these, the same texture, but being in the different colors, the green and the orange, on the opposing buildings will look cool. And maybe, honestly, maybe I should just extend this out a bit more. You see, at this point, I'm really just kind of playing. Yeah, I'm just playing with the shape of this building. Like, I don't like this that much, honestly, like shape-wise. It just looks a little weird. I guess I gotta pinpoint what I don't like about it. Oh, it's not two. Okay. So we have this. I don't know about this stripe. Maybe it looks a little too futuristic. Doesn't really scream Victorian style. I could swap this trim out for sandstone. Should have it blend into the wall a bit better. And then I still want to incorporate the purple, but maybe I could have the purple incorporated on a roof trim instead. Let's give that a shot. Sandstone. I wonder if I can... Rats. Didn't waterlog. Tragic. Okay. I don't know why, but I'm looking at this. Maybe it's because I've got it on the mind. But when I look at this, I think something kind of Star Warsy, which is not the vibe that I want for this. But roof trim, like I said, I think this. That's too steep. I think. Just referencing the other roof trims I got around. I think this wants to be like that. And then if I do it, yeah, it's got a kind of farmy vibe to it. I guess that's the one issue. There's blocks there that need covering. But I like that. It looks a little lopsided now. Honestly, I'm gonna trim this off and maybe have that poke out of the side a little bit and incorporate that in. Because these should also blink from time to time. So if, we're doing, again, back to retrofitted Victorian style, having some sort of maybe computery looking thing that'll be a bit more hidden. So imagine, main buildings here. You're only going to see this when you're leaving the main building, so it'll be kind of tucked away. And then having something here a bit more weird, computery, techy, blinking occasionally as the farm goes. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Ooh, it's producing. I love these farms. They're stupid easy. And then eventually it's just like 1-to-1 pumpkins at Melons to Emeralds. It's so silly. Do I need the glass? It's cool to be able to see it working. Again, movement. The stems look nice. Planty. I'll keep it for now, but I'm open to changing that, removing the glass. Maybe part of the weirdness too is that you can see, because the glass you can see a bit more. Like the building's not like clicking with me right now. It's not something I'm looking at and be like, yeah, this is it. I haven't hit that point yet. So I want to see what I can just add. I'm wondering if, because it's just an unfinished build and it has glass in it, just the fact that I can see kind of out through the glass, out the sides here, out the back, if that's affecting it at all. It does look better. I think what's bugging me now is specifically this area. Something seems off there. Maybe it's because this face up here is just too flat. It could be that. Unrelated. That. Whoa. Whoa. That helped a lot. Hold on. What the heck? I guess the copper, like the unoxidized copper texture was too shiny. I was looking over here and like this is a lot more muted, and I just, thought, well, more muted orange is this acacia. That to me that feels more balanced. So on the melon one, this muted green, matches the muted orange of the acacia a lot better than that. Okay. I really vibe with this a lot more now. And then hopefully I'll pop up there to be a bit more symmetric. And we'll. Nope. Okay. All right. This is not a bad start. I'm gonna probably log off for tonight, and I'll come back to this at some point in the future during the week. But it's something. I don't love it. I don't love it. I'm back. It's been a few days. I have decided I hate this. That's maybe a bit small exaggeration. I just kind of dislike it. It just wasn't doing it for me. So I did my favorite thing to do, and I ripped out the internals just to have as like, plain reference. And then I scooched them over here, and I tried again, and I'm a lot happier with this. So one of the main things that was bothering me with this is obviously, the minecart, the hypnotic minecarts weren't really on full display, and I wanted to try and accentuate that a little bit more. And then also we did all this thing with the color wheel and, determining that I wanted to use this purple and a little bit of color theory. And it's just like, that wasn't enough purple for me. And also, honestly, this wasn't enough orange for me either. And it just like, it's just like a weird shape. I wasn't feeling it. It's just like a bunch of like those little things adding up to make me look at this and go, I don't like this, I'm trying again. So I pulled it over here. And the first thing I did was put in this little window. I wasn't recording a flashback for this, I'm sorry. I was locked in, as they say. So I put in this window here. I think mangrove and the crimson stem go really well together. This has like little hints of purple, and it's a little bit brighter than the crimson planks, which I think works really nicely because I want this to feel a bit bright. And then this, like the acacia and the stained glass, I think goes really, really well together. I love how gentle this orange is. I'm a big fan. Like I said over there. But yeah, now here, it's not going to act as a tunnel anymore, which I'm fine with. And we have the minecarts in full display, which is, I love it. I love it. So much movement. It's great. I do need to figure out storage of pumpkins and such. This is a part that I have not finished, but I'm thinking I want this to look a bit more mechanical, like some machinery that's been, retrofitted onto this Victorian building. Yo, did you see that? That blinking was beautiful. So yeah, this is why I want to have the redstone on display. Occasionally you'll just get some like cool, like that was sick. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, so this is gonna be I'm gonna decorate this to look like some machinery. Oh, okay, so it's when something goes into one of the hoppers and then each one blinks as the item moves down. I know what's going on. I figured it out. That's really cool, which means we're gonna get consistent blinking. That's sick. Unintentional. I love it. I love that so much. Let's brighten up the day.
So this is, yeah, this is the general shape. I still have to do shading. I'm actually pretty happy with the roof. I like the way this looks. It needs shading. That's the big final touch. And then over here on this side, it's I see what I was going for. I'm gonna tweak this mural, but this is the building. It's gonna be like all the final adjustments are gonna be just like block choices and texturing and such. But this is the shape. This is what I'm happy with. And obviously I haven't put it back because it's all mirrored and stuff. Yeah, it's fine. And now, before I do all this texturing, I want to see it in green. And this is kind of why I've decided to hop in recording now. I have been trying to figure out some stuff with Axiom. So I cloned this over here, and I would like to have a mirrored version of this that I will then go through and swap out all the orange blocks to be green blocks to match the melons. So I did figure out how to do this and realized it would probably be... It's more interesting if I kind of show how I'm doing this. So to start, we want to make a selection. So I'm just using... This is not like an official Axiom tutorial. I'm still this mode. As you can see, I'm dragging the wrong way. I'm still learning the controls here. Oh, this is so weird. It inverts. Okay. So we want to just grab, make sure it's selected the entire thing. This is our selection. Fly over of it to make sure I've gotten every block. We don't want to repeat of what happened last time with this and where I forgot that one little piece of redstone dust. Perfect. And then I'm going to hit enter. So actually select, lock in the selection, copy it, and then we will paste. So then from here, do a simple 180 degrees. The line's weird, but it's 180. Where I grabbed it, and it's been mirrored. It's been flipped. Granted, this is probably why I should have finished both sides. So now it's just pulling it into where I want it to be. There, yeah. All right, now let's make sure these are actually lined up. We're gonna get, the controls are inverted, and it is. That's weird. I don't understand how people can play with an inverted mouse. That's what this is. It's like, it's double inverted. Wait, is it double inverted? No, it's just one inverted. This is correct. I'm dragging it the way I would expect, but this, like, in like a, this is like messing with my head, man. Okay, enough complaining. You're just gonna have to, you're gonna be disoriented with me. Okay, so it's one block too high that way. Perfect. Alright, that looks good. And then I don't know how, I think I want it to be a little farther. You could, it's Minecraft, but the controls are now like that of a 3D modeling software. And my brain is just not capable of making that switch as soon as I click the right shift key, which is how you enter this mode in Axiom. We're learning. Alright, I think that's good, and then I believe enter, and it's there. It's done. It is mirrored, and it exists, and now I... Oh, this feels so much better. So... Okay, deleted all my mind. Here is the vision. So this will be green, but then imagine in between them a building. And I think, you know, the kind of these gentle slopes of the roofs will help frame said building pretty nicely. So now I just need to lock in the colors, and it'll be really cool as you walk through. Get like the little bits of purple connecting them, and then in the industrial mechanical part of this build, there's going to be a little jut out for the auto crafter for the melons. So I'll add that asymmetry, an extra bit of asymmetry, and obviously this will be green. So let me make this green, do some more building, and I'll hop back in later.
A mean green melon making machine. Machine coming soon. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. I like this melon mural a lot more than this pumpkin mural. This is going to get reworked a little bit. Texturing. Oh, beautiful texturing. Yeah, I like, look at this. 2 halves of a whole. I just need to, actually finish the redstone, finish the decor, but I'm liking this. I think this looks very, very cool. This is part of my experimenting. I was trying to figure out like which combo I wanted, so the choice is between the lime stained glass and the green stained glass. And the big thing, I'll pretend these are melons, please. Big thing, so I wound up settling on the lime because that matches melons better. These are like pretty bright blocks. And we're gonna get they. But the other thing too is that this, that can't be orange. There's still some things that need some fine tuning. This, like the green stained glass, is actually like a pretty like neutral glass. It's really hard to see the tint on it from far away. Like it looks kind of gray, honestly. It's super, super subtle, which means I'm going to be using this in an application like that at some point in the future. This is a note that's going in the old idea bank. Whereas if we come over here and compare it to the orange, like there's very clearly an orange tint, and it's very subtle orange tint. It's very lovely, which pairs nicely with this more subtle muted orange. With the lime over here, the lime has, this is a much brighter green tint, and so it pairs better with a brighter green block. And I think just don't make hard noises. And as a whole, like, I think these pair really nicely together. And I'm hoping that in a botanical garden, which is going to be very green, that this bright lime green will pop a bit more. But then also, it's going to be like more of the building-y part of it. I'm not super worried about these buildings blending, because they're gonna each blend into the botanical garden in their own ways. So like this, the green here is gonna blend in with the green of the plants in the botanical garden. Because if I didn't put green plants into a botanical garden, that would be kind of a psychotic thing for me to do. And the orange is worth mentioning that the main building that's going to go between them is orange. So I think their accent colors blending into the larger botanical garden will work. And that's also another reason why I wanted to have this purple accent, to make them pop out a little bit more, since these colors are getting used in other places. This won't be. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of my thinking, my thought process. So at this point, I really just need to kind of hunker down and just go through all the final details. But I'm pretty happy with these. Maybe I'll add some chimneys. A bit more verticality. Yeah. Be back in a little bit, or a few days. It's really hard to tell when I play and record. So if we take a look here, we have our before and an after of texturing. I've finally made a build that uses some pale wood, which I know I'm quite late to the party on. That this is fun. This gradient, like bone block into oak. Yeah, bone block down to oak is one of my favorite gradients in this game. And I figured, I was using the sandstone, which is a key part of that gradient, so I might as well incorporate it into this build. And I'm really happy with how the texturing turned out on this. I think this is it. And this just showcases just how much of a difference texturing can make. Like, I think this building here, it looks solid. You know, you have some interesting shapes. It's a very interesting building to be looking at. But then this it has so much more going on. It just has like that little bit of extra pop, especially with all the movement that's going on in here. I really quite like this. It's not so big and like flashy, but it's there. It's got a lot of like texture and meat to it. It has a presence, I think. Yeah, it has a presence. I like that phrasing. And I have done the other side of it as well. But the part that I am the most happy with is this little machinery portion on the back. So I believe I showed it in the previous clip, but as these minecarts deposit pumpkins into these hoppers, you kind of get this blinking of these lights, and it more movement, more life. It looks more machinery-y. So I wanted to make just this strange technical block on the back, and wanted to incorporate as much movement as I could. Just while we have some stone cutters with campfires under them in here, just to kind of looks like fans. I know like proper redstone fans are kind of all the rage these days, but I'm sticking with the simple stuff here. And this is probably gonna be tucked a little out of the way, but there's so much detail. I love this sort of texturing. I need to blinking. Oh my god, there it is! Look! Yeah, but I'm really happy with this sort of texturing. It's something I want to get more practice doing. So I'm doing it. I got a little texture here. Doing some texturing on the top. So what I did basically was, my strategy was I wanted to have a light spot, and then kind of go off of that. So basically, the light spot started by placing down these pieces of bone here to define like this corner, and then it spread out with the quartz to I put down a splotch, and I increased the size of the splotch until it just looked good to me. Brought it up here, extend the splotch along this extra trim, and this is kind of defining the main light spot. And then I'm aligning these two gradients. So I have this gradient here, gradient, it's just 2 blocks, but the strategy can be expanded to apply to any gradient. And this is just kind of like what I do now. So for this light spot, then I have this gradient on the roof. And so the lighter part of this gradient is aligned to the light part of this gradient, and this goes down as well. So then they're like lined up, and it makes the build feel more cohesive. And then did something similar with these dark splotches. So that's the dark spots. We go a little darker on this gradient, and then a little darker on this gradient. And that was kind of the logic that I used all over this build for the texturing. And that's generally the logic I use right now when I texture things. And then of course, you can always use something like a slightly darker block to accent an area, a shaded area or something you want to have a bit more pop, like I did here with the andesite and the clay. But yeah, I think that's the big thing that I did with the texturing. And then of course also I just kind of went around and slapped in a little bit of extra textures, like put in this birch here just to help break up these large stretches of sandstone and just add a bit more visual interest. So if we compare it over to here, like it's a lot of beige, and it's good to I feel like it's good to just break that beige up. So this is a lot more interesting to look at compared to this. This looks a little flat, even though it is still very, like, shape-wise, very detailed. And then this, shape and texture. Wow. Neat. So I'm gonna do something similar to this one. The big difference is that this is gonna have
a much larger machine on the back. Something I didn't fully consider is the storage output, but that honestly could always feed back into the machine, and then we have some sort of weird access tunnel. I wonder if it would be fun to try and fit in just some sort of like 3x3 piston door, just here, to grab the pumpkins out of this. It's just such a classic Minecraft build. You could use maybe like a honey block machine for this one, slime blocks for this one. That would fit in with their color schemes. And then there were two. So, nothing too crazy here. I just copied the same ideas that I was using for texturing and decorating this one, with these light splotches and then blending those out. I just put them down in different spots to help differentiate the two farther. So now when you take a step back and look at this, they're very clearly like the same shape, same style of building, but they have enough, through the texturing, there's enough different between the two that they can each stand on their own. And then of course the two have different back ends. So we have this thing that I built for this guy, and then we have this back end for the melon farm. And I decided to copy this over just to add like a little extra continuity between the two. So this one's got like a little lime green thing in there, putting in with our color scheme, and then this guy's got the little orange. So just a nice little extra touch that I am quite happy with. I'm happy with these. I really like how these turned out. I think they're gonna fit in very, very well into the botanical garden greenhousey area, and I'm really excited to get these built on the server. Something I wanted to mention, I know in the last clip sequence scene, we'll call it, I was talking about maybe putting in some piston doors in the face, and I decided against that for one big reason, and a small reason of that these moss blocks would break, but that really didn't have much of a bearing on it. I just felt like a 3x3 piston door, or any piston door in these buildings, didn't fit. It was kind of immersion breaking, because these buildings are supposed to be, maybe like an older greenhouse type building that's been retrofitted with this, fancier, newer, more industrial farm. And the idea of like a hidden sliding door here just felt a bit too sci-fi and not exactly fitting with the vibe of these buildings. I think it's a lot more fun on these buildings and a lot more in theme for them to have maybe a weird little access door on the side. And keep in mind that these will be kind of close to another larger greenhouse looking thing. That'll probably start maybe like here. I don't know the exact distance. So this door is not going to be clearly accessible. So you kind of come down the main path, step through some bushes into an botanical garden employees only access path, and then there's this little door, and this is how you get in and have access to all the pumpkins and the sounds here. I can't AFK in this spot. These going on in the background of my computer will drive me insane. But I think this is kind of cool, just like vibe-wise, to come in here to gather the pumpkins. It kind of feels like a little boiler room. You got this weird ambient hum from all the Minecraft. It's cool. It's industrial. It's cool. This could actually be a fun thing to play around with sound-wise in future buildings. This thing is producing. And then I decided, again, to add like a little, to help differentiate them. I decided, this is two-part. I decided to put the collection system on the back here, just exposed out in the open. Adds a little extra visual flair, and also it is a tiny bit of laziness. I had this whole redstone thing built for auto crafting, and I didn't really feel like moving it or switching it around to feed into something underneath here. And I think that's another fun thing that I will sometimes do with a building. You know, I know earlier I was talking about with this guy, this monstrosity, of how sometimes, you know, if I build something and I just like don't like it and not feeling it, just, you know, I don't want to try and force it to work. We're gonna take a step back, try again. But then sometimes you can try and make something work. Now the big thing is, you know, I didn't look at this and go, oh, I hate this, or this isn't working, I don't like this. I liked it, I just didn't feel like redoing it, bringing it in, and so just made that work. And I think stuff like that can help a build feel a bit more real. You know, things in the real world aren't perfect, buildings in the real world aren't perfect. There's a lot of instances of, you know, some things are just like that because people couldn't be bothered to do it a better way. And I'm definitely guilty of, you know, right here, right now, and other times as well. Just, you know, good enough, kind of. And sometimes, you know, you get in a situation where, you know, incorporating that weirdness into your design is a bit of a challenge, and it could maybe, you know, the exercise of trying to make it work in a way that you feel happy with, is a good exercise, you know. Could push you out of your comfort zone, although there's an argument to be made that keeping something the way it is because it's good enough is comfort zone 101. But I think I'm getting a little sidetracked here. Basically, sometimes, you know, a little bit of trying to embrace a little bit of weirdness and a little bit of laziness can lead to some fun things. And I think on the whole, this jut out, you know, helps make this building look more unique and helps differentiate these two buildings. And I'm really, really excited to finally hop back on the server and hopefully get enough progress done to the point where I can build these. These won't be built on the server for a while. I'm just putting that out there. But I want them built there. I have them designed. I'm looking forward to that. So this has been another episode of Noodling in Creative. I have no idea when the next one will happen, but I enjoy making these. They're very different, and I still need to learn the flow. I feel like I'm maybe not the greatest at the moment of presenting my ideas and information. So that's something to work on. Yeah, I think maybe the goal would be to evolve the style of these videos to be a bit more coherent. And a bit less rambly. But gotta start somewhere. Alrighty. What are you still doing here? Go. Shoo now. See you later. Bye-bye.